2, 1. And good luck to both teams and in-game. Well played.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Master One, trying to soldering through all of these technical difficulties we've had today, and we get into draft.
We do indeed, and Elise, what a surprise, banned first up by Sengoku Gaming, though I'm a little surprised actually, because I could have half thought, or half seen Blank going for a first pick on that. It's a very powerful pick, definitely a jungle worth first picking. Akali, though, the response, and set swiftly after for Sengoku Gaming.
Yeah, so Sengoku banned the set the last game as well, so definitely a champion which they don't particularly want to first pick, you'd have to think. And yeah, I think the Elise is definitely a premier first pick material. I think Syndra is the other one, hasn't been banned yet though.
Yeah, and Aphelios taken off the board as well. Very strong AD carry. We saw that last game from Honey. Did a lot of work on that. There was one team fight where he got chakrams flying everywhere, causing chaos. Just taken off the board this time entirely. And the last ban, Soraka, who has been causing some chaos in the top lane over the last couple months and weeks over for the other regions.
Yeah, so we've seen Soraka banned a few times, not actually picked by the LJL just yet. We have seen it played in top lane, like we said, by G2 and EU, and a couple of other teams across the world in the top lane, I want to say as well.
Yes, and Lucian, the last ban, another one of those quite flexible, strong solo laners and potential bot lane.
Okay, so this does leave the Emma available. It leaves things up there as well. The Syndra also not banned, and also the Rumble not banned.
Rumble flexible between top, mid, and occasionally support even. And we have seen a jungle Rumble in the past as well. So actually potentially 4 places even.
So I love that a Rascal Jester take away the Jarvan. I think that you cannot allow Sengoku to have Rumble Jarvan. I don't think you can allow many people to have Jarvan. I think he's a very strong champion right now in many regards. Very strong in his level 2, level 3 ganks. Very strong in the mid-game teamfights, and just an overall decent tank frontline as well from jungle.
And we're looking at a Cauldron combo pickup there. The Cataclysm time comes across. That's a lot of team fight damage. However, the Ornn was also left up. That's looking like a pick. And yes, Sengoku Gaming were lacking engaged last time. If they pick up an Ornn and a Rumble Equalizer, that's a lot more long-range engage and damage available for both.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Rumble in itself is better engaged than it can in a lot of ways, just because you can fire it out of Fog of War without necessarily having the same level of vision control you do need for a cannon to be really effective. And yeah, it is the Ornn locked in. So these are probably going to be the solo laners, though Ornn can occasionally be put into the jungle or the support role as well. So we'll really see where Sengoku want to use that in the laning phase. And Senna picked up for actually a little bit more Wombo.
Indeed, and it's the last of those S-tier AD carries picked up for Sengoku Gaming. Mordekaiser comes through in response. A good pick can take away one of these dangerous engage tools. Bringing Rumble into a 1v1 definitely something that can be done. Mordekaiser is considered exceptionally strong, can take the jungler out of an objective fight. People have learned over the last months really how to best use Mordekaiser's Death Realm to affect team fights rather than just the 1v1 side lanes.
Yeah, but one of the interactions we'll have to see is that actually, so if Ornn has his W up while he's being ulted by the Mordekaiser, he can actually walk out of the Death Realm. It doesn't affect him because he's unstoppable. It means that he doesn't actually suffer the effects of that spell. Although if the Ornn is affected by the Death Realm and halfway through his ultimate, he won't get the Ram inside the Death Realm. It will just be left to pass through the team. No second part of the ultimate for him, as we see a couple of bans come in.
So some outplay potential for both the Ornn and the Mordekaiser, whoever they end up with. But the Lee Sin taken away. Solid pick take away from Blank. And Leona as well. Another one of those wombo combo, serious engage. Don't give that to pair up with Misfortune.
Yeah, we saw Leona wreak some absolute havoc earlier this game. Just a super tanky support right now, being able to make full use of the aftershock changes in the preseason, making tanks tankier while your more squishy members get less value out of it. And Leona is, if anything, a tank.
Yeah, and of course, Rek'Sai banned away from Blankwell. That's the double jungle ban. Probably quite sensible as it's not been picked up. However, it's a double support ban from Sengoku Gaming as the other engaged sport of Nautilus taken off the board. Thresh, I suppose, still available. Blitzcrank still available if they want to run on those really hard engaged champions. But for now, may have to think about something else.
Yeah, and now we have to ask, where does Blank go to? He's definitely been a famous Jarvan, Lee Sin, and Rek'Sai player. He's had a couple of other picks in his wheelhouse as well.
Hovering an Aatrox and locked in, so that means Mordekaiser and Aatrox.
Yeah, Mordekaiser will probably be in the mid. Yeah, Mordekaiser will probably be in the mid lane. It's a good laning matchup into the Rumble, but this could also be a Rumble flex to the top lane. I do think that Aatrox is actually pretty okay into Rumble as well, but I think Rumble will just be happy to be put into either lane at this point.
Well, Blank has it. Well, Blank doesn't have a skin for this, but playing on the team that got the skin for this. It is not the Olaf pick. I got baited again, and instead it's going to be Zoe in for the mid lane, which means it's potentially either an Ornn or a Rumble support. Maybe, just maybe, that's actually a Rumble jungle.
It could be a Ornn or Rumble jungle. It could be a Ornn or Rumble support. It's probably the Zoe mid lane. Probably not a Zoe support. And it is looking like they're hovering the Olaf again. It is a cardinal sin to talk about hovers before they put in, but we do have to wonder what Sengoku are doing with this draft. They're picking up the Qiyana for an absolute mother of God wombo. This is just huge amount of damage. If you manage to get a wall stun with Qiyana, with the Rumble ult, the red carpet laid down, they are stunned and take so many more ticks of damage there. In fact, this is a combo that was absolutely demonstrated by Clutch Gaming in the playoffs and World Run last split in NA as well. So we've seen the effectiveness of that comp.
And Vivid picks up his famed Thresh. So it'll be Misfortune Thresh at the bot lane. See what Vivid can do on that pick. We'll see where things get flexed. Will be Zoe in the mid lane. It'll be the Ornn in the support. Rumble's not being flexed down there. We're not the...
Yeah.
It's
not
the
the
Freaks
LCK,
who've been
it's
thinking
Freak
about that. But that means, as I say that, it's been switched around. Maybe, just maybe you are saying that.
20 seconds on the countdown clock for trades to be finalized, just so teams have a chance to talk about their conversations with their coach, change their runes accordingly. And yeah, so if this is the Rumble support, we'll have to talk a little bit differently as compared to the Ornn. And it has reached 20 seconds, and it's a Rumble support.
So we have the red carpet and the dead carpet down in the bot lane.
Yes, we do.
Shadows and fire all available there. That's going to be some nice synergy there. They hit level 6, and they can certainly do a lot of damage from a long way away.
Yeah, so what we're going to look for is that if Senna lands her W root, that ultimate is going to be put straight down, and that's going to be a lot of damage just based off of base damage from the Rumble.
Absolutely. In fact, there's a lot of quite dangerous carpets coming out because we've got the Ram Jam from the Ornn, we've got Dawning Shadow, and we've got an Equal. A lot of work there for some serious area effect impact. Rascal Jester picked a little bit more of a, we'll call it a standard comp, but there is ways for them to outplay. They've got some really tanky bruisers, Java and Aatrox, and if they can keep the Misfortune alive for some bullet time damage, they can really get off some big damage themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things which is going to become very apparent about Sengoku's team is that they have a lot of quite long range follow-up. I feel like if any of these large ultimates or engage abilities comes through, that you can have Zoe portaling in, you can have Qiyana popping a Ghost Blade, running along, and then engaging with the WE and the ultimate, all those mini little dashes. But we don't just want to talk about Sengoku, obviously we want to talk about Rascal Jester as well. Their first game of the day, they have a very strong bruiser frontline in Aatrox, in Jarvan, and Thresh and Mordekaiser. All of these guys are going to be slightly harder to take down than other people in their role. I feel like that could be to their advantage when they're playing against very high damage composition like Sengoku's.
Indeed, and there's a lot of people that Mordekaiser is going to be licking for a 1v1 in the Death Realm. That Rumble can be taken out, that Senna can be going to be miserable if she's just portaling through.
Oh, that's an interaction I want to see. If Zoe portals midway after the Death Realm was cast on her, does she return to the portal in the real world or in the Death Realm? I'm actually not sure about that.
I'm trying to remember. I must have seen a Zoe Mordekaiser.
Be in the Death Realm. Oh, we see that anti-studded E on the Rumble. That's what you do nowadays. For those of you that don't know about support Rumble, you max your E into your Q into your W, I believe. So,
of course, NT being on the Rumble is a heat management champion. I think he probably is the only heat management champion. So not mana reliant, so that poke is free. It's a nice slow, and especially when you're versus kind of relatively immobile AD carry like a Misfortune, you can make her suffer a little bit for that. But it's a delayed engage and a red buff smited away straight away for Hachimecha. So we see what he gets done. But that's a nice Shadow's Embrace as Thresh walks through there, punished for that greedy path to lane.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, but Hachimecha going for level 2 onto the mid lane here.
Empyrean has... Blank is also quite low. staying alive, just throwing some autos attack, didn't bother to flag and drag there. And at any rate, Blank was just around the corner.
Yeah, looks like a good job by Blank just to shadow that lane there, make sure that Pyrion wasn't getting jumped onto needlessly. Very good awareness from the side of Sengoku to not fall prey to that. Actually, very interesting level 2 by Hachimecha. Looks like he's going red buff to red buff.
Another Shadow's Embrace lands on Vivid. Yutori Miyashi can't miss them currently, but level 2 ticks over for Art and Vivid, and they've got the early pressure here.
Yeah, so Yutori Miyashi started with the W, and NT started with his little harpoons as well. So there's not really much wave control that they have available to them at level 1. Need to wait a couple of levels really to see a lot of that come through. So see Blank go down towards the Krugs on his side of the map.
But he is on a ward, and a good death sentence land on. That's going to be all of that. And of course, the Piercing Shadow picked up for Yutori Miyashi, and he's got a mana bar, so he can definitely help NT heal up there. But good little huck there. Nothing more comes of it.
Yeah, and one thing that actually will become very apparent with Senna is that heal will be very important in this game, particularly for the likes of Afamem, because as we've talked about a little bit on previous games and in podcasts, is that when you put a shield or a heal onto a tank, because they have more resistances, that heal means more, because every point of HP for a tank is harder to take away. So when you have Senna healing up this front line of the premier tank in Ornn, that just goes to have so much more value.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see what happens as this game goes on, because Ornn also just provides that level of extra scaling. The Ornn items, the Rabadon's Death Crowns, the Molten Edges, all of that juicy, delicious stuff is a lot of extra gold. Ornaments, I believe, is glitcher. But Hachimecha coming flashed away from. Good grasp there from Ninja, forces the flash out of Pyrion.
Yeah, and Ninja on last year was definitely not in the best of teams. Didn't really have the best record in his, but he was actually having some very good individuals. So I'd really like to see how he manages to perform in this debut game for him. He's currently at a 10 CS deficit, but he has a decent matchup to go later into the game with, and Zoe does have a good early lane play. So we won't take that too seriously right now.
No, exactly, and it is a range into melee matchup, and that's just one of those things. You can get a bit tricky. Of course, Mordekaiser can trade if he catches people out with that glorious grasp of his. But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, and actually what we are seeing is another spellbook picked up in the mid lane. We see it from this series. We see a nice couple of trades coming in across in the top.
Indeed, and Hachimecha is once again here, but he's managed to sweep out a ward. Nothing much more will happen there. Looking like a lot of pressure actually now. They may have lost wave control early, but now Yutori Miyashi and NT have pushed up pretty far into Art and Vivid. Hiding off to the side here as well, looking for a little bit of poke.
Yeah, and one thing that we'll see this game is that actually, so Kiana, if she tries to make plays early, does often fall very far behind in terms of XP. You do see a lot of Kianas in pro play falling 1 or 2 levels behind, but what Blank tends to do is find very good paths to keep himself up in farm. So maybe the reason they're picking this and the reason Blank will be good at this champion is that he is able to keep up in levels as the game goes on.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes, because of course Kianas that fall behind are very squishy, and yeah, they have a supreme display of talent. I nearly said balance. It's not happened yet. Got the right name eventually. Eventually, the rest of it potentially not as powerful as you'd like if you are behind in gold. But coming in now with the sweeper.
Level 6 onto the Mordekaiser. You don't want to go for that, buddy.
I absolutely agree. Got to watch out for that Death's Grasp and whether he looks to prevent the ward take. But nope, not going to bother. And Hachimecha coming up to dissuade any further advances there. And that would be, again, a 2-level advantage. And no one wants to give him Mordekaiser first.
Yeah, and while we were talking about Yutori Miyashi, and Art both being these semi-finalists in the last scene as well, we also have to mention Hachimecha, because Hachimecha was on the same team that Art was last year on Crest Gaming, did make it through to those semi-finals where they fell 3-2 towards V3. And Hachimecha was a good player. I think we had a lot of praise for him. Definitely held Baby into some very bad games in that semi-finals. He had a chance to show off.
Yeah, and we're looking like a bit of a just forcing them off the wave here. Blank on another ward though, and that's a pull back there from the Aatrox, and Cog gets the solo kill and flash burn as well. But Blank is now caught as well, but it's a good return now. So much damage. The bubble key there to turning that fight around. Death's Grasp though is pulling Pyrion forward, and he's going to be pulled. No, not into the red. Is he in the death realm? No, he's not. I thought he'd been turned around. It was just some area effect abilities and visuals on there confusing me slightly.
I don't know what I'm trying to see where that heal came from there. I think Pyrion picked up Art's heal to heal Blank away from death there. That was some very close run stuff. Ends up in a 1-for-1 across the map. Obviously, the 1-for-1 going the way of Cog in the top lane. You hate to see people flash away from that last killing auto. And actually, after last game, we had a lot of praise for Afterman. One of the things I said in pregame was, hey, maybe this top lane is going to go really well for Sengoku, but it didn't happen this way. Cog landing the W, landing the chains, landing 2 of those sweet spots. Doesn't matter that the knockup didn't come through for the second one. The damage is still there. Just autos the Ornn to death. And now we go down to this bottom lane play here. And it's just not enough damage really around this. And yeah, it wasn't the heal picked up. Blank just had enough healing through his own stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of summoners committed from Rascal Jester. There's 2 spells committed from Vivid, and he dies for it anyway, so it's pretty sad there.
It looked very stylish, but it wasn't enough to secure the kill, and dies for it instead. So a bit sad to see, but I appreciate the commitment. I appreciate the chutzpah, so to speak.
Yeah, I think particularly in the first couple of weeks, you really want to be trying to flexing your muscles and just try and make the plays. Make sure you push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and just see what you're capable of. And yeah, we've seen Vivid have some great games in the past, and yeah, that wasn't the best play ever, but we do like to see the fact that he is trying for it.
Yeah, and we're looking at
Blank
Blank here,
caught
caught a
out.
little bit in the river. Flash is going to he's going to dash towards Hachimecha there, but Ninja's chasing him up. Vivid has lanterned Yutori Miyashi in here, and that's a Dawning Shadow to give Blank healing, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Death's Grasp, Obliterate, Art picks that up with a last auto.
Yeah, and Blank, no flash left over from the last play, doesn't have his ultimate to disengage, just falls down to the AD carry of Rascal Jester. Art picking up that kill on the Misfortune, and that's the champion which we do know can carry with his well. So that's a bit of unfortunate positioning from Blank. Just trying to clear out that ping cord. Wards save lives, but it turns out they also kill you too.
Yeah, was looking to get some early vision control in the river, but it turned into a dragon take for Hachimecha and Rascal Jester, who are off to a pretty good start here. Still a couple 100 gold behind, but that's a nice pickup to even the score, and they're going to feel pretty happy about claiming the first drake.
Yeah, and one thing actually that we're seeing here is that Afterman, even though he lost that first kill, has been pushing in pretty consistently into the top lane, not really giving Cog a chance to back off and try and teleport to a fight or anything like that, as we have seen a couple of fights around the bottom side of the map. So, he's got that wave control down there, and it looks like this continuation of LJL teams just happy to handshake and say, look, top lane's going to be a bit of an island. You guys have fun.
Yes, it is. And actually, we're looking at some CS lead here for the Ornn, who's picked up about 10 CS lead. We're looking at about a 20 CS lead in the mid lane and a 10 CS or 20 CS lead again in the bot lane for Sengoku Gaming, who are at least laning with pretty good style here. We'll see whether Rascal Jester can recover that into the game, but that's not necessarily the best look.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now we're kind of just settling down a bit. Obviously, we see that the Cloud Drake went over to Rascal Drake.
That's a great make it rain into the bullet time. You told me I actually now got the Black Mist, I believe is the term, and manages to step out of the way, make himself
down the bot lane. Oh, you don't want to be there.
Takes the flag and dragon. That's going to be. He does have the stoppage, and Vivid is burning down for the equalizer. Those base damage is so much, but it's not going to matter. Art is slain by Yutori Miyashi. Sorry, Yutori Miyashi is slain by Art. I was looking at that. I was like, wait, no, I've misread that.
Yes, there's 2 kills over to the Misfortune now. At least there was no flash to be burned from Yutori Miyashi. Does die for it. Actually, very close turnaround for a kill onto Vivid there. Just walking away from the red carpet, as we've been saying. Cogweb just looking in towards this Rift Herald, though.
Yeah, thinking about it. We'll see how this goes. Taking a bit of damage here. Can someone take it blanks here? And fantastic movement to Ornn slays the Aatrox. Death's Grasp avoided, and that means the Rift Herald is taken and a kill taken there. Cog, bit brave trying to take that Rift Herald solo.
Oh, he moved far too early there. I know he's strong. He's just picked up the Black Cleaver on his back, looks like. But, he went into that fight way, way, way before any of his teammates were in position. He's punished accordingly.
Yes, he is. So let's have a look over at some of these items. We're looking at a completed Manamune, I believe is the term for this particular version of the item for Senna. We're looking at a GLP for a Zoe, some Fire Cake picked up for the Ornn, but on the other side, you mentioned it, the Black Cleaver complete for Aatrox. He's pretty strong, even if he is a few CS behind. and it's a BF sword over for the Misfortune along with that Caulfield's hammer. Very close, you've got to assume, to the Essence Reaver, especially considering she's got a couple kills to her name too.
Yeah, so Art's dumped a couple of 100 gold into boots, and then also another Doran's Blade as well, which is a pretty common thing that we see on the Misfortune. They do love their Doran's Blades just for the laning prowess that it gives you. The extra HP, the extra AD, really nice pickup for a lot of these ADs.
Indeed it is, but that hasn't stopped the CS lead from being pretty big here for the Senna. You told me actually doing a pretty good job, despite having some aggressive plays go awry down there.
Yeah, but I really want to talk about this mid lane, right? Period, with of a Ninja. You know, both these guys are mid laners which I like to watch. I think they're both very talented, but Pyrion really getting the better of this matchup. I know that Ninja has been roaming pretty easily, and Pyrion has normally been second to the roam, but he has picked up good amount of gold accordingly.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hook going wide. Nice little dodge there with the scrap shield from NT. And I suppose it's also worth pointing out the Ninja is, in fact, a melee mid laner, and he's taking so much damage as a result. Pyrion able to step forward with GLP, throw bubbles out with impunity, and only the Death's Grasp is able to threaten him at the minute.
Yeah, so at this point, very close to hitting with that paddle star there, which I could have imagined being a kill onto Ninja. Really playing things close to the edge there. Herald summon mid lane as well, so we're going to see a good couple of plates go down here.
Indeed it is. The Hachimecha here, Art and Vivid are here too. There's going to be a Supreme Dispel display of Paladin available. Just takes the edge of Ixtal and incoming damage. But the Senna deletes the threat.
Oh, there was some mad damage coming out there. You told me actually picking up the cross map kill there as Afferman just running away from Cog with the World Ender running.
Indeed he is. Hachimecha takes a blue buff desperately, but Pyrion's here. No, this Zoe incoming blank around the corner. So Art here as well. The bubble does land, good traveling through the wall.
That's so sad.
That's Mutorme. No, sorry, Art rather throwing the bullet time. I've done this twice now. It's a problem, but it doesn't matter because either way, Hachimecha is dead and done to.
Yeah, so the reason that is because Yutori Miyashi, literally the last game, about 20 minutes ago, was playing the
Misfortune. I know.
Playing the Misfortune anyway, right? So actually, no, that's...
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, but anyway, right there, Blank showing that he had the presence of mind, just went in behind enemy lines once again. And much like Ramune last game, just managing to find that fantastic brush gank onto the waiting members of Rascal Jester. Only leads to one kill, but it's burns some defensive cooldowns in the other replay. Yeah, just no wards here from Rascal Jester. There are no rights walking blind into there. Hachimecha just getting out with the Flag and Dragon. A good make it rain from Art just to disengage the rest of the team. But yeah, at this point, Pyrion has run of the mid lane, can push in for free. And yeah, the Trouble Rubble just lands way, way further than you should think it would do.
And we're beginning to see why as this replay continues, because it didn't end after one pick. That was just Jarvan disappearing.
It was, yeah. And Jarvan hasn't got the complete... Well, yeah, he has a complete Cinderhulk right now, but he's just not tanky compared to the mixed damage of both the Assassins, of Zoe, and Kiana. Everything lands. It's a massively long-ranged equalizer. Kiana does have good base damage after the... a lot of damage coming in after you complete the warrior as well. A very efficient item for these AD junglers. And yeah, just doesn't have anything to stand up to those champions.
Yeah, and we're watching a bit of a gathering in mid lane. NT and Yutori actually hiding over this wall, looking for a push. They don't have their ultimates quite available. Although I say that, I think the equalizer is just about available now. So definitely got some power to their name, especially as this Infernal Drake is now live.
You know, they had two sweepers there, and they missed the hidden ward that was in that river. That's a little sad.
The coach is going to pick them up on that one. You've got to think.
It's just discipline in clearing your wards, especially coming up to this dragon fight. You know, that ward could be very important, particularly because that gives them direct vision over the pit of the dragon. We see now that Pyron's just moving back to mid, just trying to get a bit of priority, and we see Rascal Jester grouping up and seeing if they can find any picks on stragglers from the Sengoku team.
Well, it's Pyrion alone in mid lane, giant forwards, but the Infernal Drake now started by Rascal Jester. Already lost about 1,000 HP.
There is a
but Sengoku game spoke about that warden is being utilized. Apperman coming through. Jarvan has slain the Infernal Drake though, but he'll trade his life for it. And that's a good ram jam, but it's flashed away from the Dawning Shadow.
Damage.
Pretty damn good. Flash over the wall from Orn, who's got the knock up on Vivid, who's being tanked as well, and the Shadow's Embrace claims that one too. And actually, somewhere along the line, the Misfortune died 2. 3 for none. The Infernal Drake has hit, and the bubble did hit. Nick so much has a death roll, but it'll only save him for a moment if he wants to use it. Nope. Walks away.
Apperman just tanking turret to assert dominance there. So, Sengoku, they lose the dragon but win the war. Fantastic layering of their massive wombo ultimate. I think Utori actually hit about 4 people with the Dawning Shadow there. Lots of damage coming through. Brittle procs being procs everywhere from Ornn. Massive damage from the side of Sengoku. We're going to see the replay now. So, Rascal Jester have the positioning on this dragon. They came in early, like we said. The wards weren't there. The equalizer comes down. It ticks onto Art. It takes onto Coghorns, slows them down, and this applies 3 sacks of Brittle, pops up the Aatrox as well, and that's a 4-man ult from Utori Miyashi there. Fantastic and well played. The box hits onto Vivid. The root hits there, secures that well. At least the other 2 managed to come out, but it is a 3 for none.
And the second Rift match is here, but the last time Rascal Jester tried to do poorly, and it's looking like Sengoku Gaming are here and ready to contest. Apperman wandering down and looking at a Rumble here as well, who has his ultimate. Bubble has landed one more time. Ninja just about surviving, but he's in so much trouble. Takes the Death's Grasp, but he didn't want that because it meant Pyrian could auto. And the bullet time is stopwatched. And Apperman goes in again. He's so damn tanky. Bellow's breath keeps him moving. And Utori Miyashi is there to heal, and he dashes across the wall. That's another great supreme display of talent. And actually, it's 2 kills down. And this Rift Herald pit is proving to be a nightmare. Another bubble lands at the end of it. It's not going to mean anything, but those health bars are so low. Art has no summoners and no ultimate. He's not stepping forward, and maybe Hachimechi can steal, but it will be at the cost of his life. Well played, Sengoku Gaming.
Yeah, these are a couple of really key team fights in a row. Sengoku is just showing the way the momentum of this game is going. Sengoku can afford to be patient in these team fights. Wait for the skill shots to land. Use their ultimates at the opportune time, as we saw Blank come in at the end of that fight with almost a cleanup ult with the supreme display of talent. Manages to catch 2 people, including Hachimechi on the backside of it, killing 3 people once again.
Yeah, and it's now 9-3 in kills. It's 31,000 to 26,000. Sorry, 32,000 gold now with the tower to Sengoku Gaming. And this is starting to look like the game has run away from Rascal Jester.
Once again, doesn't necessarily respect the amount of players here. Does pop the Death Realm just to try and save himself, but it's not him that's trapped in there with Pyrian. Pyrian is certainly the one doing the damage. And yeah, this is just so much damage coming across. We see Blank playing it patiently while Apperman tanks up the entire team, lands a good route onto Vivid to secure that kill, then just hops over the wall, causes the flash away from the Misfortune, gets double stunned onto others. And actually, I was wrong. Actually, it is only the 2 people that go down. But a fantastically well-played team fight from Sengoku.
Indeed it was. And it was a nice little water blade there from Blank to free someone up in the river.
Vivid,
and then dashing across and claiming that kill. Some good stuff. Mordekaiser's finally moved out the mid lane. He's decided, screw that place. I can't be there anymore. I'm going to go side lane.
Pretty sad. I think that Mordekaiser does have the ability to be one people safely as long as he doesn't take too much hope beforehand. I think he can at least survive these matchups. I think that once more people come into the picture, maybe he's forced to use his Death Realm in an inopportune position, and that's when we'll see like him fall apart in the side lane. But for the time being, I think these are decent side lane matchups for Rascal Jester, but they're just so far behind now, I can't see how they can stop themselves getting dived in this mid lane.
And there are so many ways to get onto this Misfortune. There's no Tom Kent this game to save her. And I'm looking at a Kiana who is fed, a Zoe that's fed, and a Senna that's... In fact, let's be honest, the whole team is fed, and they have all ways to hit her from screens away. We talked about those carpet abilities just available. Ninja. And speaking of people who are in trouble, that's an equalizer really well placed there. And the Water Blade hits one more time for the roots. A second Water Blade there. But Ninja has got shields galore and gets to walk away.
Yeah, not enough damage that really sticks onto Ninja there, and that is actually the equalizer used. It's only the rank 1 as well, and there is a bit of CDR build up for NT, but it's not going to be too much. Oh, there's bubble lands. I might kill, but it's at least the turret.
It is indeed, and Pyrian just proto belts forwards there.
Yeah, the little bodyguard minions there coming in to block the paddle star. Ninja, yeah, definitely getting dunked on a little bit on these side lanes. I know I was talking about how the individual lane allocations okay for Rascal Jester, but it doesn't really apply when 3 people come into your lane.
Yeah, and actually, you know, one thing that's quite telling for me is I'm looking at the vision scores for both junglers and both supports, and there's a pretty significant lead here for Sengoku Gaming, who've just managed to wrestle control of the map away from Rascal Jester in general.
Yeah, and look at, I mean, there's 1 tower down for there are 3 down on the side of Rascal Jester. There are no wards beyond the river from Rascal Jester. In fact, there's only 1 in the river from them anyway, and that's on the opposite side of the map to the dragon, which is now being taken by Sengoku.
Yep, it is a mountain rift. That means a mountain soul available, and Rascal Jester, yeah, they claimed the first couple of drakes, but I don't know if they're going to matter anymore because
5 levels down.
Sengoku Gaming claimed the Rift Herald instead, and they've still got one available to them, and all the outer towers are down. That Rift Herald could be used to break an inner tier 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Rift Herald is definitely the one objective, the one thing in these games in this current meta which really changes the map state. It allows you to take turrets against the flow of the game. But the thing is, though, the flow of the game is already with Sengoku. We'll see where they use this.
They're going to have to use it pretty early. It's not that, well, pretty soon rather.
Yeah,
There's not that much time left.
20 seconds on it. I'd imagine that they're going to use it on mid, as that's where everyone is grouped right now. Yes,
there we go. It was about right to call it out, and the wave is being pushed. We're looking at a back swiftly from the Misfortune, but that means everybody from Sengoku Gaming, well, apart from the on grouping up here. Hachimachi is on a ward, is on a flank. If he can find and engage, maybe Rascal Jester can find a bit of a victory. It's just going to be a chunk rather on this inner turret.
That being said, there are a couple of chinks in the armor of Rascal Jester.
Indeed.
Not looking so good, it's not so hot in this game. But yeah, so that's a good amount of damage onto the inner turret there. But yeah, I think that the way they get into this game is just through their wombo. I think that they always have to be a little bit aware of that, which is why we didn't see Sengoku walking up to that turret when the Herald charged into it, even though it has so much HP and can tank up the tower for quite some time.
But either way, the turret does fall in the end. Rascal Jester had to back, and when they did, Sengoku Gaming were ready to pounce. Another one claimed, and we're looking at I'm looking at those center items, and that's a transformative that's a Duskblade.
I'm not looking at the center items. I'm looking at the first Ornn upgrade for his teammates, and it's the Rabadon's Death Crown for the Zoe, who is actually running into the Mordekaiser right here.
Yeah, the Death's Grasp is missed, but we're looking at a Sleepy Bubble hit, and it does cause trouble. Apperman flashes over the wall. This time the flash possibly worthwhile, but Godcog is chasing, desperately trying to catch up, but he's somehow, somewhere 40 CS down on this Ornn.
Yeah, I think that Godcog's just had to be forced away from tower so many times by this Sengoku team. That's a big bubble, not big bubble, big paddle star onto Ninja that takes half the health, even through the shield.
Indeed, all hail the queen in the mid lane. That Death Crown is definitely doing some work.
Yes, in Death Crowned is Zoe. I feel like she's really strong in this current game. Has the Ornn upgrade onto the Death Cap, which gives her so much more AP, once again amplified by the Death Cap passive. She is really willing and able to kill any of the carries on this Rascal Jester line.
Yes, indeed. And Rapid Fire Cannon now picked up for center as well. On the other side, Misfortune still stuck on a BF Sword and an Essence Reaver. Yeah, Ninja's got himself 2 items with an Ashes Tooth and a Proto Belt, but that's about it. Rascal Jester still waiting on some items to really be testing, and they're actually currently 6,000 gold behind anyway. It's starting to look a little bit ugly if it wasn't already.
Yeah, and I have to say, I was having a think to myself about the meta and what happens when you do get these outer turrets down, and what happens when certain champions get ahead in the game, and how they actually warp the game around them. And I think that Zoe is a very unique champion in that sense, because she is, you know, the poke champion of her time. You know, if you can go forward with those paddle stars, she's at her second rank of her ultimate with a good amount of CDR. You know, she can sit there and open up the shooting gallery. You know, you cannot stand at a turret where Sengoku have the gold lead and the positioning around the turret flanks where, you know, bubbles can start flying over the wall, and it makes these Baron fights so treacherous for Rascal Jester. I don't see how they can really muscle away control from Sengoku with this kind of gold deficit.
And every time one of those bubbles lands, alarms have to start ringing, because there is so much long-range follow-up from an Ornn, the Rumble Equalizer, that Dawning Shadow from Seda. Yeah, you get chunked to 1/3 HP, and maybe you could walk away, but not from the rest of the damage that will come for you after. Yeah. And that's real trouble.
I think the caveat is, at least Rascal Jester have all their flashes. You know, they do have some playmaking tools to stop instant death. Yes. Although even then, you know, a bubble can spell that anyway. They don't have QSSs to remove that. You're going to have to, someone will have to face tank that. Maybe the Jarvan can with the stone plate. But, you know, that's then your jungler chunked out. You can do that with your Thresh as well. But you really don't want to be, no one wants to be tanking that Zoe damage on the side of Jester.
Well, at least second items have now pretty much come in for Rascal Jester, but ahead of this Mountain Drake fight. Maybe they can think about beginning to contest. Misfortune is on those 2-item crit item spots where her ultimate starts to really, really do its damage. But on the other side, it's nearly 3 items for a number of these carries. In fact, it's a Thornmail now complete for Ornn out of nowhere, which means this real happy in a side lane versus that.
Yeah, you know how I can tell that Zoe's really fared? Her bubble, without Ludens,
yeah, go on, tell me,
is managing to almost kill a minion without actually doing any damage on top of the bubble.
No. And I'm
the bubble itself is doing 400 or so damage before resistance is taken into account.
I mean, Pyrian's 4 levels up above Hachimetra as well. This Jarvan, like, looking for an engage or trying to work his way around a jungle, has got to be so careful.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few people like who want to be tanking a bubble in the first place, but Hachimetra can't be one of them at the minute.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that with the way this game is going, with the map state and the gold advantage, that Sengoku Gaming are very happy to sit and wait until they get level 16 on their Ornn, level 16 on their Zoe, and a couple more levels on pretty much everyone. Get maybe to the second level of the Rumble as well. And they're still very, very happy because Ornn is starting to build items onto everyone else as well. There's actually no item available for upgrade onto either Blank or Yutori Miyashi. So we'll see what the next item being built that Ornn can upgrade is. We've seen a couple of teams around the world actually just not build items that Ornn can upgrade, giving up that free couple of thousand gold worth of stats.
Yeah, and there are a few coming in, I feel, that we'll see what happens around this. We've seen the Haunting guys and the Blasting Wand in now for Enti, so he'll be completing a Leandri's tournament for just that additional burn on the Equalizer, which will be a lot of damage.
It's just such an efficient item. And because Rumble Ult already applies a slow, as is well known, Rumble Ult is just doing so much damage to everyone. And actually, there is a bit of magic resist onto Cog with Spirit Visage and the Merc Treads, and also the Stone Plate. And but on the important carries of Ninja and Art, they really don't have much to stand up against that kind of damage coming out from even a support Rumble Ultimate.
And it's one of those things where Rumble has always been more level reliant than he has been item reliant. He's always run towards things like a Leandri's, where his itemization has always been fairly cheap, right?
Yeah, when he gets to his first 2 items, he doesn't necessarily care so much. But, he is still a carry. He still deals a lot of damage.
Yes.
I remember back in Season 5, good old Marin on SKT building Death Cap and the old Zonyas with all the AP onto the Rumble.
Indeed, there has been that opportunity. But what I guess I'm saying is there is a baseline effectiveness that NT just has as a result of this champion, right? Like Rumble works pretty well off his baseline damages. And when you pair that up with some additional slows, it can be pretty powerful stuff. Hachimetra once again have to flag and drag defensively out of these places. Rascal Jester really can't walk into this jungle very easily.
Yeah.
We're watching Vivid and Hachimetra very tentative as they walk in here. They've got to be so careful. Appaman throwing some of these pillars out with his Q. But that's about it so far.
So now we see level 16 on Ornn, level 16 on Zoe, level 11 on the Rumble. I think this is the time where Sengoku really want to start baiting the Baron.
Well, that's another bubble in, and he's so low. They're pushing in this mid lane wave, and I think with that mid lane pushed, Santa's going to pick up one more stack, and they're going to head straight to this Baron. It's not the fastest, but there is burn from Rumble. There is Kia, and there's a lot of damage available.
No, they're not.
They're just baiting.
I think they're faking the bait right now. They do have. I'm trying to see if they have a pink ward on the Baron. I didn't see. They don't actually have a pink ward on the Baron, so maybe they swept it and they're just hoping that there's no blue trinket available to Rascal Jester. But,
Indeed. We'll see how this goes. Rascal Jester desperately grouping up, trying to find their way in, and these bubbles are flying out of nowhere. Hachimetra just skirts that. I thought he was going to be a bit risky. But Hachimetra threw a flag in the Baron pit, knows nothing's occurring right now. Feel they can back away again a little bit, maybe cheetah back.
Yeah, well, no, the 3 to recall is about
the
first 3 waves of the game. But it's a nice term either way. Just try and get those cheeky recalls. Maybe
there you go. That's a better phrase. Okay, we'll get that.
But yeah, okay. So we see the blue buff picked up by Pyrian, who has just an immense amount of damage. 3 completed items, has an uncompleted item, and is just really happy with this game state.
Indeed, they are, and we're seeing a little bit of a stall as Sengoku Gaming are pretty happy to let the game continue as it is. No start on the Baron as yet.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, I was giving Sengoku a bit of the benefit of the doubt in terms of waiting towards these next item breakpoints, but you are strong. You are really strong. You have a 6k gold lead. You have some very well scaling carries who are all really good at teamfighting. I think at this point, you do have to start baiting the Baron. You have an Ornn's tank at the Baron if you really want to. If you want to,
with extra resistances from Mountain Drakes.
Yeah, exactly right. At this point, Sengoku are just not pulling the trigger. I think I was pretty happy up until this point, but now they're being a little bit lethargic. Maybe they're just a bit worried by the state of the last game. Maybe it is the nerves of going 0-2. Even though they have this massive lead, it shouldn't really be on their mind. As I think Pyrian is getting his second blue buff, they're actually just a bit of a refresh on there. Probably didn't need that. I guess they are also maybe waiting for the Mountain Soul as well, but that's 2 dragons off. I don't know if they want to wait a full 10, 12 minutes for that.
Yeah, I think there's also the risk, right? Where actually the only viable way I see at the minute for Rascal Jester finding a way back into this game is through a Baron steal. And maybe they just don't want to allow that. And they're trying to find a pick before they start
You
it.
say that. I think that if they lose someone in the attempt of a Baron steal, I think they just lose the game, don't they? They lose an inhibitor at the very least, right? So what happens if they lose Hachimecha? How do they counter engage onto Sengoku? How do they actually not stop their towers from falling at that point?
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. But on the other hand, they've got to think about it. They don't have the fastest Baron taking it. Like Senna is notoriously pretty poor at that. Kiana's not the best. She's okay.
Pyria uses Spellbook to get a smite. It's a level 17 smite. You have a 5-level advantage. You cannot lose objectives at this point. Take the damn dragon at least.
Well, that they do. They're going to claim a 3rd Mana Dragon, put themselves on Soul Point, and then please, 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 Sengoku Gaming. I know you're named after the age of war in Japan, but like, stop being interminable. End this. Claim the shogunship, and at least take this game. We're looking at 32
Take
minutes
it to the finish line.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. We're looking at 3 Drakes for them. They're on the Soul Point, as I just said, and they're going to turn in here and probably, maybe, finally start this Baron.
I think the thing.
Can it happen? Ninja pulling NT over the wall does a fair amount of damage with that obliterate combo on top of that.
NT in chunks. They'll have to reset and do their Baron prep again.
Oh no, what are they going to do?
Oh no, they will have to wait another 2 minutes. Try and do.
I can't believe it. The game's been ruined. Sengoku Gaming can't win anymore. NT took damage.
The thing which is worrying me here a little bit is that Appaman.
Wait, Blank's being caught, and that's finally a supreme display of balance. And no, just about surviving. No,
oh,
finally claims it and goes down. Vivid now in trouble, and Mutori Yumeashi throwing that bullet time into the ether. Finally, the jungle is dead. It's a free Baron. Just take it. It's gone well.
Something happened, and it's the jungler that dies. I have to imagine that if it wasn't Hachimecha that died, that Sengoku would maybe try and do another reset. But they have managed to get the kill. They used 3 of their ultimates for it, but they're very happy to now try and take this Baron. Unless Ninja try and goes for a flash steal.
He might do it, but no, it's too late. I wonder whether Ninja was going to go for the flash Death Realm. It has been taken, and now the bubble lands, and Ninja's in trouble. Can't finish up the Death Realm. Takes so much damage, but it's a good war. Never mind. The land Blank flashes forward, and that Edge of Ixtal comes forward and claims the mid laner's life.
I'd completely forgotten the name of that ability.
No, I have
throw that out. But yeah, no, I think
name.
Yeah, so Blank finding a good pick on Hachimecha just before that Baron, commits the flash for a good kill onto Ninja, who had his own flash available. So just some very quick moves from Blank to get that last kill there. And you have to imagine this is the straw that breaks the very elderly Camel's back at this point. Looking a little bit sickly there.
Indeed, and we're looking at a center on 4 items, an Orm with adaptive helm, because what else does Ninja need to deal with but more magic resist? Yeah. It's looking pretty dire here for Rascal Jester. They've got one more roll of the dice, I feel. One last chance to find a team fight, but Ninja is still dead. Are they going to wait for him to come back up? No, the tower's gone down.
Oh, and so much damage.
And the art is just absolutely obliterated, limps away, can't defend this inhibitor. This team fight is looking more and more unlikely as Appaman is shoving in this top side too. This tower goes down as well. Inhibitor down, top lane tier 3 down, and looks like Sengoku Gaming are going to go for one last reset, and then please go for the death push.
Yeah, so, okay, the good thing is, Appaman, level 18, did manage to upgrade Yutori Miyashi's newly bought Infinity Edge. Just did it there, just before the recall. We're going back to the recall here, and Hachimecha just gets a little bit impatient. Tries to throw the standard over to the Baron pit, but costs him his life, costs his team the Baron, and possibly the game off of that. Blank really doing well, just using his CC. A lot of the damage available to him in this game is really high, especially against his level jungle opponent there as well, level 12 to level 12 in that fight, whereas the top laner is a level 18. So, you know, it's a bit sad for the likes of the junglers, but it was a good pick-up.
Indeed, and you have to say, like, that's the problem when the vision is so dark. Hachimecha is trying to go through to see whether a Baron's going on, see whether he can get a steal, but ends up trading his life for his gross audacity to think about going through there. How dare he think that jungle is his anymore?
How dare you go for the Baron? We were going to reset anyway.
All right, I think we well, but never mind. That Baron has been taken. It's a 3,500 Baron power play. Actually, that's a massive lead, and it's up to 10,000 gold now.
Yeah, so they
Sengoku Gaming.
They took a couple of towers. They took the inhibitor towers in the middle of the bottom. A couple of other towers around that. My worlds are starting to fail me in the third game of the day for. We're going to see this bot lane turret falling as well. And with only 17 seconds left on the Baron buff, we're probably going to see the end of that there. Although, unless some poke lands, which the bubble does land.
It did indeed. And I thought that hook was going to catch as well, but it didn't. Cog gets to walk away with his life, although his health bar a touch lower. Vivid still desperately trying to find a hook. Hasn't really found much this game. But then again, he's never really had all that much opportunity. So we're right.
So the problem I have now is actually Vivid is level 11 on this. And if he pauses to try
we're going to see an engage, but never mind, because Blank finds another supreme display of talent, and it's a good Ornal in the back. And there is still a lot of damage to come. Ninja gets lanterned away. That I will give credit to Vivid for, who has managed to keep dark passaging his allies away at slivers of HP. But it's not going to matter. It's 12-3 in kills. They're tanking up this tower. They're going to go for another inhibitor. And with Hachimecha dead, and it's a 5v4, are Sengoku Gaming going to look for this last push? It looks like they are.
But they don't have the bullet time to try and contest this end now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Ninja takes so much damage. They can't stand and fight. It's taking so much damage. There is so much damage available to the side of Sengoku Gaming. They are actually walking out of the base here. It'll be another set.
Yeah, well, I think at this point...
Actually, it won't be a reset. It'll be a Mountain Soul take. Apologies. Realize that's up.
I guess there were respawns coming in, but when you're 10k ahead with, multiple inhibitors down, maybe you can just try and sit there and wait for the game-ending poke from Pyrion. But I guess it is okay to go towards the Dragon Soul. I mean, sure, why not? It's a nice thing. Try and, they're trying to do the speed run. Well, this isn't a speed run. This is the 100% run,
Yeah, Cog walking forwards here. But we're also looking, right, that this is them dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's. They lost the first game of the day. They want to make sure they don't throw this at the end. They don't see a way for Rascal Jester to come back outside of them misplaying. Mountain Soul makes that nearly impossible. They're already very tanky. With those additional resists, it's going to be real. That's 4 Mountain Drakes and a Mountain Soul.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, so one thing which I do need to see is that. So the size of Iceborne Gauntlet Slowfield is related to the armor you have. This is a level 18 Ornn with 2 upgraded items. Full build almost with 4 Mountains Dragons. This is going to be covering most of the map. This is going to be Malphite with crazy armor items
TP coming in. All of the Forge God thrown down as well, but it's not enough. Lantern has been taken there. Vivid picks up another save for his team, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It'll just stall the inevitable. And the last push,
look at the range that the Senna has.
Indeed, the Senna has so much range, and the Death's Grasp is avoided, but the Death Roll is put down onto Apperman. Are you sure, buddy? I'm not sure you get a kill there with all those resists. He's doing nothing with these obliterates. It's meaning very little. And I think that's got to have been a misclick, but the bubble lands. It's a stopwatch blown from Kogpog, but he's now stuck, has to flash away. But Blank dives forward, doesn't get a lot done. Again, Kiana doesn't have a lot of places for her ultimate to work in the base, but Yutomiyashi does kill the Jarvan, but it's going to be a Guardian Angel blown for Blank, but Blank kills the Aatrox in return. Ninja has a big shield, but that's all he's got to work with. Art has no ultimate. Last inhibitor down, and there's 2 men down now for Rascal Jester. They're going to keep shoving.
Oh, and there's just so much damage available for Sengoku, and just not nearly enough for Rascal Jester. They lose 2 people in their front liners of Cog and Hachimecha, and I just have to think this has to be finally the game end from Sengoku.
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of damage. It's done. Yep, well, never mind that. Bye, Ninja. Bye, Mordekaiser. You're gone down. But that's a nice little play at the end there from Pyrion, who cleanses away. But it's finally GG Sengoku Gaming. It was a long one, but it was never close.
Oh, it's finally over. I feel like Frodo at the end of The Return of the King. It's over. It's finally over. Lexi, what are you feeling about that?
I mean, wow. That was a game that I think one of these teams had won probably 10-15 minutes ago. We just kind of went through the motions. But I mean,
Agreed.
That was Sengoku kind of showing that they were not going without a fight. They wanted to win on every single axis that they could. And I mean, they did. I mean, in all honesty, every lane won. They just kind of went through the motions a little bit slower than I was kind of expecting, personally. But
I really liked that draft. I think there was some really sensible picks there. And Rascal Jester were like, what do we even do? We're outranged. There's all this sort of damage coming out from beyond where we can really fight. And they never had a fantastic way to get onto people outside of a Jarvan that was just quite a long way down in levels. And actually, beyond that as well, like I do want to say, like, yes, we were joking about the fact that it took them quite a long way to close out. But Rascal Jester, actually, Vivid, to his credit, yeah, he didn't land that many good death sentences, but his lanterns were pretty clean, getting people. And they like.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a
Sengoku Gaming
long game. Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Like it took them an extra 5 minutes longer of poising. Like, what am I to say?
I think there's also an element, of course, that Rascal Jester avoided getting picked off when Sengoku Gaming were trying to bait. We said they didn't have the fastest barrier intake, and actually, because there wasn't a pick available, because there's the Mordekaiser who can Death Realm the jungler out of the pit, that's always a bit of a risk. And it meant that Rascal Jester did manage to pull off a stall for some time, even though I kind of feel the Sengoku Gaming could probably have forced the issue a lot earlier.
I feel like after Blank got the GA, I feel like he could have been a bit more ballsy and looking for in games. We didn't really see a lot of that from the Horizon follow-up of the Ornn ult and, you know, Zoe coming in from off-screen, the Dawning Shadow, the Equalizer coming down. That could have been an easy way to try and secure kills, particularly when they had that extra fallback of the Guardian Angel.
True. I could have totally seen that happening. But, I mean, that was definitely a performance. Now we've got two teams who are now 1-1 in this current week for these 4 games. We've got Sengoku and SoftBank Hawks. Now both 1-1 currently at the table. That takes us to our 4th and final game that will be after this break of Rascal Jester, Crest Gaming. Rascal Jester looking to secure it up, and Crest Gaming looking to potentially try and be the only one from this side of the bracket currently going 2-0 to join Destination Focus Me, if I remember rightly.
And yes, indeed, and that's some lauded company to be paying attention to.
Absolutely. But we will be straight back after this very short break. Hopefully you'll join us then.